In the Horn of Africa, a relentless drought compounded by grain shortages caused by conflict like the war in Ukraine has plunged millions of people into hunger, leaving communities on the brink of disaster. But even in the darkest times, there are stories of strength and resilience. This is Togadir, a region in Somaliland that 350,000 people call home. The drought has forced thousands of families to abandon their homes in search of food, work, and healthcare. Many have found refuge in this camp for internally displaced people near Togadir's capital, Burao.
My name is Ayan. I fled from a rural district and I have been here for 2 years. In our old life, we were happy and we lived in a good house. Now the house I live in has holes in every corner. Droughts were not common when I was younger, but I've grown older, it has become much more frequent. We have experienced many droughts that are killing our animals. I had 170 goats and sheep, but with the droughts, they died day by day until all 170 animals had perished, and we fled without single one of them. We rely on our livestock for their milk to sell and to make money for buying food. Livestock is the lifeblood of the community. It has had a terrible impact on my children. One of my children died shortly after he was born, and my other child passed away when he was only 4 months old. I believe the drought is to blame for my children's death. I was unable to breastfeed as I am malnourished myself. If there had been healthcare center nearby, his illness would have been identified and he would have been hospitalized, but there was nothing. So, I made the decision to come here with the rest of my children, where I can get access to healthcare and water. Sometimes there isn't enough food for all of us, so we have to skip meals and go without eating. I am still unable to breastfeed with my youngest child, and he has become malnourished. I contacted the medical center here, where he is now receiving treatment.
Like the rest of the Horn of Africa, Somaliland is suffering from rising food prices. The region relies on food imports. Nutritious food has become increasingly unaffordable, with some prices surging by up to 66% in the past year. Now Ayan, like so many, depends on loans from traders to feed her family.
My name is Faiza. I am 66 years old. I run a small shop in the camp. We have to help one another as it's part of our culture as Somalis. Whenever the price of the products go up, they cannot afford it. For example, when I meet mothers like Ayan who have young kids who are malnourished and they have nothing, I'm always pleased to help. The droughts caused us to lose our animals and our children to suffer from hunger and thirst. Malnutrition took the life of one of my grandchildren. Also, conflict took the lives of many of our people, including my husband and members of my family. We were forced to flee due to the fighting, and we had no food to eat. This is how we ended up here, and are now beginning our lives again.
My name is Saeed Yusuf Warsame. I am a doctor at this medical center. This is one of the few health clinics in the Togdel region where families affected by malnutrition can get medical care. We provide free services for up to 30,000 people here to help the community cope with the impact of the drought. In the last 3 months alone, we have diagnosed more than 1,000 children with malnutrition, and 25% of those cases are severe. The first time Ayan came to us, her child was severely malnourished with pneumonia. I gave him syrup for respiratory illness and referred him to General Hospital, where we covered all his medical expenses. Thankfully, his weight has now increased, which shows he's recovering well. There are 72 health facilities in the Togdel region, but if we don't get funding, only 6 will remain open by the end of this year. The continuation of this medical service is the most crucial thing we can ask for. The next nearest facility is the General Hospital, 30 kilometers away. If there was no health facility, many more children will die.
If hospitals do close and health workers are forced to leave Togdel, more and more children will become severely malnourished. Children in displaced communities will be the most vulnerable, making it easier for other life-threatening diseases, such as pneumonia, to spread fast.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Muna Mohammed Hassan. I am a doctor at Burao General Hospital. Togdel is a large territory with many districts and villages, and children mostly come from outside the city, from rural parts of the region. So the issue is, it takes a long time for malnourished children to reach the hospital, in which time they develop anemia, respiratory infections, diarrhea, and other diseases. Sometimes we have over 40 people admitted onto the ward, but we only have 24 beds. So half of those patients have to be treated on the floor. The children arriving are in critical conditions, so it takes time to treat them, and we need powerful drugs and machines to help with this. However, many supplies and equipments are unavailable.
This is Nadifa. She is just 4 years into her life, and she's already fighting to survive. Nadifa arrived at the hospital 3 weeks ago, unable to stand or sit up. She may have been sick for months. She was severely malnourished and exhausted from anemia, and swollen by fluid trapped in her tissue. Nadifa's parents first brought their girl to hospital in January, traveling 5 hours on a truck. After an expensive but life-saving blood transfusion, Nadifa pulled through, but deteriorated quickly after. The family thought of more of their dwindling livestock to pay to make the long trip back, in the hope Nadifa will one day see a brighter, fairer future. What's happening here is a poignant reminder that the communities hit hardest by climate change often contribute least to the crisis. And as extreme weather becomes more frequent, more families will be forced to leave their homes and everything they know behind.
As a mother, I want my children to have a better future and to study. It hurts me to see my child in such a poor condition. I used to be a joyful person because I could provide for my children. But as we lost all our animals, I became depressed. Now, my main concern for the future is losing my children.
Where hunger goes, tragedy thrives. Unthinkably tough years lie ahead for children and their families as they rebuild their lives. We know swift response from the international community saves lives, as it did during the 2017 droughts in the Horn of Africa. But today, hesitation risks the future of millions of people.